Hey guys, I have been playing the bodhrán for a very long time and I've been teaching for a long time too. And in this video I'm going to break down the three biggest barriers or the three biggest mistakes that I see in my students as they're learning the bodhrán. You may not even be aware that you're doing some of these things, so do make sure to listen through to the whole video and see if these top tips are helpful for you in your bodhrán practice and your bodhrán playing. So guys, my first big mistake that I see so much in my beginner bodhrán players, but also my more seasoned players, is playing with a stiff wrist. Now you may recall in some of my introductory bodhrán lessons, I'm always getting my students to shake their wrists, to relax their wrists, any tension. This is so crucial to playing the bodhrán, and it's very different to other percussion instruments, particularly other percussion instruments where we're using sticks, where we need to have a certain amount of tension in order to actually lock the stick into the shape of the hands. We're using bounce and rebound a lot more. With the bodhrán, it's all about a very relaxed wrist, super relaxed, using the bare minimum amount of tension. I might say, well, why? Okay, have a look at this. This is playing with a stiff wrist. Now with a relaxed wrist, same pattern, same groove. Stiff. Did you hear the difference in the sound? Certainly from my ears, I can hear that when I play with a very stiff wrist and I grip the tipper, it creates a sharp, edgy sound that I don't really like, to be honest. It doesn't really fit with the other musical instruments and so on. When I play with a soft wrist, not only does it feel much better, but it sounds much better too. If you think of the tipper, the stick that we use to strike the drum, if it's soft and relaxed in our hand, it is actually vibrating every time that it strikes the drum. The tipper actually vibrates. Of course, we don't really feel the vibration as such, but if we grip it really tight, the tipper is locked in the hand and we're playing with a very tight wrist. The tipper can't move, it can't vibrate, so the sound is a lot more sharp. Yeah, it's less pleasant of a sound. So you want to keep that wrist really relaxed, keep the fingers really relaxed. Now this can provide challenges. Things like this can happen. Oops, I just dropped my tipper because my fingers were relaxed, my wrist was relaxed. Uh-oh. So we've got to use this thing called dexterity. We've got to use our fingers to move the tipper whilst we're playing. It's not a locked grip with the tipper when we're playing the bodhrán. So we're using dexterity. That's why another good little exercise that I do with my students is walking the tipper or walking the hand up and down the tipper just like this, just to get used to that dynamic movement that we need whilst we're holding the tipper in order to play the bodhrán. So practicing with a really soft, floppy, relaxed wrist. This is the biggest, most important mistake that I see when I'm teaching, even sometimes in myself, particularly if I haven't played for a little while or if I'm stressed out or tense or whatever. Another thing that you can do to help yourself relax the wrists before you start playing is to do some physical warm-ups. Of course, this in itself is a physical warm-up, just shaking your hands, as I've already showed you in this video. You can also bring your hands together, create a little bit of heat. You can flex the fingers forward and back a couple of times. Oop, cracking fingers. I want to try and avoid that. Yeah. Followed by shaking. Bring the hands together. You can just massage into the palm of the hands with the thumb on each hand. These are all really good little exercises that you can do just to get into that very relaxed movement in the wrist. Now, of course, we talk about the playing hand. For me, this is my right hand. That's the hand that I hold the tipper. Also, little bonus tip is make sure that you isolate between the wrist and the elbow. Here my elbow's moving, now my wrist is moving. So just being able to differentiate between those two, that's going to help you to relax that wrist as well by just really focusing in on the wrist, not the elbow and the wrist and the arm and the whole body. Now the second big bodhrán mistake that I want to address is trying to do everything at once whilst you're learning something new on the bodhrán. Now, for the bodhrán, there's lots of different things going on. Sometimes I describe it as tapping your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. times 100. It's much more difficult than that. But breaking up the different parts of, let's say, a pattern that you're working on. So let's say we're playing a pattern, a jig pattern, down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat. Let's say it's got a tonal element, open, bass, push, bass, open, bass, push, bass. Sometimes my students will jump in and try and do everything all at once, and you've got your sticking, you've got your tonal hand moving, you've got your foot tapping, you've got your vocalization maybe, if you're learning a new rhythm for the first time. There are so many different details that we have to pin down, and my big recommendation is that you do one thing at a time. First things first, vocalize the rhythm. We're working on a jig pattern, simple rhythm, galloping, galloping. Say the words, taquita, galloping, galloping, rashers and sausages. Whatever vocalization that you want, but get that rhythm into your body first. If you can say the rhythm, you can play the rhythm. If you can say it, you can play it. Don't know why that is, but it always really helps. Next thing, I would focus on the right hand, the right side of the body, my tipper hand, my playing hand. Yeah, so here my sticking for this particular pattern is down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat. If you're not sure about what downstrokes, upstrokes and flat strokes are, you can check out one of my other videos, or indeed my online course, How to Play bodhrán, 12 hours of video, lots of specially recorded practice tracks, loads of material there that will take you all the way through from beginner to intermediate, advanced intermediate, onto advanced. But back to this video, we've got our sticking down, down, up, flat, galloping, galloping. Only when you're confident with that, I would get the tonal hand involved, open, bass, push, bass. And what you might find is that you get one aspect, got my vocalization, check. Got my next aspect, my sticking, check. And then when you add in the third, the whole house of cards fall down. You think, oh wow, I have failed. No, that's all part of the process. Take it back slower, go back a step, go back to your sticking, practice that, go around that a few more times, slow it down even more, and gradually build up those blocks. And what you might find sometimes is that you take 2 steps forward and then take 1 step back, or 4 steps back. Let's be real, that's happened to me sometimes. I think, yes, I've taken a huge step forward and then gone back 10 steps, yeah? That's all just part of the fun and games of learning a musical instrument. The other thing that you can do is make sure that when you're putting together all the parts is that you practice really slow. And that actually leads me on to my third mistake to avoid whilst you're playing the bodhrán, is practicing too fast. We want to make sure when we're practicing, when we're playing something, particularly learning something new on the bodhrán, that we play really nice and steady. Sometimes difficult because we all love to play fast. We all love playing fast, I know, me too, but sometimes we've got to be really disciplined and make ourselves practice slowly. Now, what can we do? What's the most effective way to practice slowly? Take this thing, mobile phone, metronome. Metronome apps, loads of them online, free apps you can download. Also, Google has a metronome.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Now let's take that same groove that we looked at, that jig pattern, open, bass, push, bass. We're going to put 60 BPM on the metronome. That's 60 beats in a minute. Exactly, each beep is a second long. Okay, so that's really steady. 60 BPM. And we're going to do our pattern first. Galloping, 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 going layer by layer. Our sticking. Down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat, down, up, flat. And then our tonal hand, open, bass, push, bass. So that is practicing with the metronome, a really, really good tool that will force you to practice slowly. I know it's annoying. We all like to drive fast. We all like to go fast. We all like to play the bodhrán fast, but you gotta do it slowly. Trust me, you'll really find your practice goes so much further, so much quicker if you practice slowly. Don't know why that is, but it is just so effective. Now, if you don't know how to practice, you might be interested in checking out this video, which gives my whole method on how to build a meaningful practice on your bodhrán, but actually practice on any musical instrument. So thank you for checking out this video. Well done, team. See you in the next one. All the best. Bye-bye.